Right, I'm going to turn my attention to this broken handle now. I want to weld it, but what I want to do is put a pin in here that'll join the two off together just to keep them nicely in line. We've got that centred up. This is hard, this stuff as well, or at least the outside's hard, so it's probably been case hardened as well. Yeah, it's just the outside that's hard. That seems to be drilling quite nicely in the centre. Right, that's right in the middle. I've got some little stainless steel dowel pins, or sorry, silver steel dowel pins. I'll just use one of them in a 3mm hole put in here. So a 3mm pin. So that should be a decent fit in there, which it is. And we'll machine a hole in the other part, and that should hold nicely together while I weld them. I've already machined a nice taper on, so I can weld it. Right, with a little drill. This really wants to snap off in the hole of this. Right, that should be deep enough. That hole there was in that orientation with the handle. So that should. So all this is to do is to hold it in line where I weld it. It will pull to one side or the other, but we'll be able to allow for that because we're welding. It's pretty good. Right, so that's what we're left with. It's now joined together and it's nicely in line. I've got a good size fillet in, or a good size V, so I can get some weld material into it. I'll weld it with stainless. I'll use a 3/1/6 stainless filler rod. Stainless goes into most things, so won't give them any problems. We'll weld it up and remachine it. I'll have to weld a piece at one side, then the other, and work my way around because it will try to pull one way or the other as it's welded. So I've got two good tacks on it now. Looks good. I've got a decent weld all the way around it now. It's a simple case of building it up. You can see it's still nice and straight. Build up all the way around it and then machine it back, and hopefully it'll be as strong as it was when it was original. Right, I've welded it up, it's welded very nicely. I have got no room at all, clearance here to spin it, so I'm going to have to put a big long tool in there and just do it very carefully. Got to be aware that this thing's spinning around here. You do not want to get ravelled up among that. I'll see what tools I've got that's going to reach there. It's going to have a lot of overhang on it, but it can't be helped. It should still machine it alright. Right, I've extended the tool. I've got enough clearance, but it's going to be, the tool's going to be very springy. It's going to be nice and slowly and gently work away at it. I get it down to the size I need. In last week's nightcap I had this drill running just to make sure that the motor and the switch was working alright. I've took the switch off the machine and I'm going to rewire it. You can see how I've done it. I've cut the wires off, but I've left little bits on with the colours so I can match up exactly how it was wired originally. You've got 3 out, 1, 2, 3, there you got your motor, and you've got your 3 phases in, 1, 2 and 3. And probably the most important wire is the earth. Before I had this drill running last week, I did put new earths on, made sure the motor was earthed and the switch was earthed to the drill chassis. That's a perfect example of why you change wiring. That wiring's been rubbed through and it's actually exposed one of the live phases there. The wiring's old. Any machine I get now, I rewire them, simple as that, then I know it's going to be right. Anything I'm not sure of, I've got a friend who's an electrician, I get him in and he makes sure I've done things right, or he does them for us. He'll come out, he'll do a mega test on this machine before I use it, just to make sure everything's working properly. That's always a good sign when you see a grease nipple on a motor, it's a sign of quality. Originally there had been a sticker on there which shows you how the motor is wired. That's long since gone. Better watch you doing, drop any little washers or screws inside the motor, that's the last thing you want. Inside the motor we've got an earth, we've got a neutral that we don't use, we've got A, B and C, those are our 3 phases. Like I said, it'll be very easy to drop them inside the motor, which is what you don't want. If you're not that confident, you can always plug some tissue down inside of there. Little washer, and it's a proper soldered on loop ring connector, not just a wire wrapped round. Right, that's my 3 wires disconnected. You see where the wire goes through into the motor, there's a rubber grommet in there. That's not because it looks pretty, that's to stop the wire getting worn away. I think originally the wire had been through there, and that's where it's, over the years, where it's chaffed through. That's probably the reason why it was wired without the switch on and just wired direct onto the motor. That would have been causing it to trip a fuse all the time. This is the wire I'm going to use. This is 1.5 core thickness. This is just a short length from the switch to the motor. As you can see, you've got your earth and your 3 lives. These proper wiring pliers to bare the end of the wire. Not expensive and they make a much nicer job. I'm got some loop ring terminals here. I'm just going to solder them on. Push them through a little crimp, and then we'll solder them. Makes for a much better job than just a straightforward crimp fitting. This is a soldering I bought at the car boot sale. Brand new but old. That's old solder as well. That'll not be environmentally friendly, but it certainly works. Beautiful. The heat of the job to melt the solder. It's a massive iron. You could probably solder battery terminals on with it, but it certainly does the job. Right. We'll put the brown one. Just put the cable in here, it's going to get a better grip. I think that's how it was originally in there, and then the plate held it. They had the cable pushed through there. I don't think that's the way it was when it come from the factory. There's actually a little blanking grommet for that hole there. So that went onto there. That would help hold the cable in. Now I'll put it through the grommet, and I'll put a couple of cable ties on the inside just to secure it. Right, so I'm going to go brown on that one. Little washer, and then one brass nut. Be careful when you tighten these. I'm going to go ridiculous, but they do need a good nip on them. Right, we'll go for a black one. We'll go onto there and we'll point that one away so they can't touch each other. Right, that's it. That'll just stop it from pulling out. Right, so we've got our earth with 3 phases, all nicely spaced apart and all nicely tightened up with lovely little soldered loop ring terminals on. When you look in the back of here compared to a modern motor, there's just no comparison at all. Right, the motor can go back on now. It's clever the way it's mounted. It's just on 2 big steel pins with 2 bolts on it, and that slides in and out for your belt adjustment. This goes down through a hole in the headstock casing. Quite a tight fit in there because the cable is heavier than the original cable, but it will go in. Oh. Right. Right, so that's the end of the next new cable. There'll be plenty of slack here. We put a cable tie down at the bottom of there. There's enough slack cable on for the adjustment for the belt. And once the belt's set up, it can be cable tied nicely out the road like that. Right, now the switch end. There's plenty of wire to play with because it all goes and hides inside of there. You just have enough room, you don't want to have everything tight so you kind of get your hands in and work outside the box. This is the gland where the original wire that powered the machine would have been fed through. It looks like possibly a gland for pyro. That's the solid copper wire. Anyway, the wire I've got will certainly not go through there. I've got this one here, a modern one, fantastic plastic. It's slightly bigger, the threads are slightly bigger, that's 20mm, that'll be some, God only knows what thread that is. Anyway, what I've done, or what I'm going to do, I'm just going to open the threads out very slightly with a die grinder. That's enough, so that's a nice tight fit, and I'll just glue that in there with some twin pack adhesive, and that makes a nice smooth empty exit for the cable. You don't just want the cable poking through there with nasty sharp edges. I don't use glue very often. I don't particularly like glue, but it is good for certain situations. This is one of them. Unfortunately, the metal's too thick to get the thing right through and put a nut on the back of there. So we'll just put a little bit of glue on there. Like that. And that'll go into there. Should be a nice tight fit. Which it is. So once that glue goes off, that'll give no problems at all. Like I say, all it is just a smooth entry for the cable. That's the cable we're going to use. It's a nice fit in there. It's like a rubber. Bollocks. A little rubber bush in there, that goes in, and the nut grips onto the rubber bush and squashes onto the cable. While that dries, I'll put a plug on the other end of the cable. This is the plug we're using. It's a 5-pin 16-amp plug. We're only using 4 pins. We're using the 3 lives in the earth. The extra ones in neutral. Clever the way these work. It's simply push it together like that. There's a little screw on there. A little catch. Turn that, that's it locked together. There's a gland clamp on the back, you tighten that up and that gets a grip on the cable, stops the cable from pulling out. So it's sealed in around the nice, neat, heavy duty stuff. These have come down in price, are basically for nothing now. £3 or £4 each, that's all they are. A little bit of lubricant always helps. Try and get rid of the end of it. Don't touch it, but I kind of bend it. Right, there she is. See how that's nice and neat and looks the job. And the wire rods will be tied onto there, they'll both be tied in so they're nicely out the road. Make a proper little P-clip to go on there. Right, on this end now, wiring into a switch. It's decent quality wire. This the only thing I don't like about it is it's white. I would have much preferred it all being black. But that's all I had in stock, so it's white it's going to have to be. I may have to swap two of these over if the drill runs in the wrong direction. Swap any two phases, it'll reverse the direction of the motor. That's why the switch is quite simple compared to all it's switching a single phase motor. Right, that just gives the earths. Go onto there and there'll be two loop rings solid onto there to make sure we get a good solid earth. Again, my giant soldering iron, my lovely non-environmentally friendly solder, which works. Okay, that's the 2 earths on, that's the last connection. I'll put some power onto it now, make sure the switch is working. If it's not, we'll change 2 of the phase wires over. I've got the inverter turned on, so that's now 440 volts running into this thing, so we're going to be careful what I'm holding on to. Forward. And it's running the wrong way. All we'll do is change over any 2 with the phases, which will reverse it. Right, I've unplugged it. You don't piss about, you don't pretend, you don't just switch it off, you unplug gear like this. So reverse any 2. These 2 are the easiest to get to. They're in from the phase converter. Come on, you bastard. Right. Right, we're powered up once again. Forward, going forward, off, reverse. Switch goes round in circles, forward, off, reverse. Right, it's all back together again. Reverse, that's forward, off. Over the last few weeks, especially about a month before Christmas, my YouTube channel started to become a lot more popular. I'm getting a lot more views, and because I get more views I get a lot more comments. I try to answer most of the comments, but honestly there's a lot of comments come in, so if I haven't answered your comment it doesn't mean I haven't read it or I'm being a smart arse. I will get round to answering them all. I do like to answer comments, I like to read them all. Deb reads them as well. It often has her in tears actually when she reads what people say and what people think. Anyway, Once again, it's just time to say thanks very much for subscribing, thanks for clicking the like button, and as usual, a special thanks for all the well wishers that have come in and are still coming in towards Deb, my wife. It really does make a massive difference to her, and it certainly lifts my spirits as well. Anyway, once again, thanks very much. I put it through the wrong hole on the top, you dozy pillock.